Good night, viewers. Here are tonight's top stories. Vice President Bharat Jagdeo has assured the public that updated cybercrime legislation will not restrict free speech or social media influencers. Meanwhile, the government and police remain silent on a corruption probe within the Guyana police force. The basketball community mourns the tragic passing of coach Dave Cosway after a road accident in Upper Burbus. A man wanted for money laundering has been arrested, with Soku urging victims to come forward. In other news, a GDF soldier has been sentenced, while another was granted bail in a 316-pounds ganja bust. A La Grange woman faces charges for $16.7 million fraud at BPAT store, and a driver has been remanded for the murder of a 23-year-old welder in Lust and Rust. Additionally, a man was fined $200,000 for driving under the influence in Kuyuni Mazaruni, and armed bandits have struck again, robbing a Chinese restaurant on the Essequibo coast. Stay tuned for further updates on these stories. La Grange woman charged with $16.7 million fraud at BPAT store. Jimothy Jacobs, a 20-year-old accounts clerk from Lot 17 Unity Street, La Grange, West Bank Demerara, appeared before the Georgetown Magistrates Court on Wednesday to face 24 counts of larceny. Jacobs is accused of stealing a total of $16,765,027 from BPAT's, a retail store located at 100-101 Regent Street, Laceytown, Georgetown. According to court reports, Jacobs was hired by BPAT's on February 8, 2023, to manage online payments to suppliers and service providers. Between September 2023 and August 2024, Jacobs allegedly used her personal login credentials to transfer funds from BPAT's bank accounts to her own on 24 separate occasions. The discrepancies were discovered on August 23, 2024, leading to an internal investigation and subsequent report to the police. Jacobs was arrested and admitted to the fraudulent transactions. She pleaded not guilty to all charges when they were read to her by Principal Magistrate Faith McGusty. Jacobs' attorney, Lachmi Rahamath, requested bail, citing her client's young age and clean record. The prosecutor did not oppose the bail request, and Jacobs was granted bail at $800,000 per charge. She is scheduled to return to court on September 25, 2024, to face further proceedings. Government and police remain silent on corruption probe within the Guyana police force. News source Guyana reports government officials, including President Dr. Irfan Ali, Acting Police Commissioner Clifton Hicken, and the head of the Special Organized Crime Unit, SOCU, Assistant Commissioner Fazil Karambaksh, have refrained from providing updates or comments regarding ongoing investigations into alleged corruption within the Guyana police force. The investigation reportedly involves senior officers, with claims of financial impropriety and widespread corruption surfacing. During a press briefing following the launch of the National Defense Institute, President Ali was questioned by journalists about the corruption probe. The president, however, maintained that the matter is being handled by SOCU, emphasizing that it is an independent investigation. That's a matter that is under investigation. That is a matter that SOCU is handling, and they are doing so independently, so I can't give an update, said President Ali. Acting Police Commissioner Clifton Hicken, when approached for comment, similarly deflected, stating that it is Assistant Commissioner Karambaksh, the head of SOCU, who should be queried on the matter. I am not interfering with that matter, and I am giving them latitude to do exactly what they have to do, Hicken stated. When contacted by News Source Today, Assistant Commissioner Karambaksh confirmed that the investigation is ongoing but declined to provide further details. He refuted claims published in other sections of the media, which suggested that the investigation had stalled or was drawing blanks. This investigation comes in the wake of Assistant Police Commissioner Calvin Brutus being placed on leave nearly 2 months ago to allow a probe into allegations of financial misconduct. Mr. Brutus has remained silent, but the probe has been extensive. Investigators from SOCU have been granted an order to freeze a bank account reportedly linked to Brutus' wife, while they also examine the accounts of the police force's credit union, which has seen unusually large deposits. The investigation continues, but the lack of transparency from officials has raised concerns among the public, as calls for accountability within the Guyana police force grow louder. Driver remanded for murder of 23-year-old welder in Lust and Rust. Orden Griffith, a 47-year-old driver from Lust and Rust, West Bank Demerara, WBD, has been remanded to prison in connection with the murder of 23-year-old welder Ollie Mark Augustine. The incident occurred on Saturday during a birthday party in Lust and Rust. Griffith appeared before Magistrate Rondell Weaver at the Wales Magistrates Court, but was not required to enter a plea to the murder charge. He was subsequently remanded to prison until his next court appearance, scheduled for October 4, 2024. According to reports, the fatal incident unfolded after an argument between Augustine and a group of men escalated into a physical altercation. Augustine was stabbed once under his left armpit during the confrontation. Despite his efforts to flee, he collapsed in a nearby yard. He was rushed to the West Demerara Regional Hospital, where he was pronounced dead on arrival. The investigation into the circumstances surrounding Augustine's death is ongoing as Griffith remains in custody. GDF soldier sentenced, another granted bail in £316 ganja bust. 2 members of the Guyana Defense Force, GDF, who were caught with 316 pounds of marijuana in July, made their third court appearance yesterday, resulting in one soldier being jailed while the other was granted bail. Edward McCalmont, a 40-year-old from Caneville, East Bank Demerara, EBD, and John Johnson, a 24-year-old from Timeri Docks, EBD, appeared before Principal Magistrate Faith McGusty at the Georgetown Magistrates Court. McCalmont, initially pleading not guilty, changed his plea to guilty and was sentenced to 3 years in prison. Represented by attorney Felicia Williams, McCalmont admitted to possessing and trafficking the drugs. In court, he claimed ignorance of the legal status of marijuana, stating, "No, I didn't know marijuana was illegal." Meanwhile, Johnson's attorney, Bernard da Silva, successfully applied for bail, arguing that his client was neither the driver nor the owner of the vehicle in which the drugs were found. Johnson was granted bail at $350,000, with conditions requiring him to report to the East La Penitence police station. The case has been adjourned to September 25, 2024, for further proceedings. The 2 soldiers were apprehended on July 27, 2024, during a police operation after a Route 42 bus, #BTT27, was intercepted on Mandela Avenue. A search revealed 49 large parcels of cannabis. Both men were in uniform at the time of the arrest and were charged with drug trafficking. Man wanted for money laundering arrested. Soku urges victims to come forward. The Guyana Police Force, through its Special Organized Crime Unit, Soku, has arrested Raheshwar Persad, also known as Raj Persad or Dave Persad, who was wanted in connection with money laundering and other financial crimes. A wanted bulletin had been issued for Persad regarding these allegations. According to police reports, Persad's alleged fraudulent activities date back to February 2019. He is accused of defrauding individuals by selling properties and vehicles he did not own. Additionally, Persad allegedly posed as a police officer, collecting large sums of money from people by claiming he could assist with police-related matters. In light of his arrest, Soku is urging anyone who may have been defrauded by Persad or his associates to come forward and provide statements. Victims are encouraged to contact Soku via telephone at 5922253079. Authorities assure that all information will be treated confidentially as they continue their investigations. Tragic passing of basketball coach Dave Cosway after road accident in Upper Burbus. The basketball community is mourning the loss of 36-year-old Dave Cosway, a beloved coach and former national player, who tragically died in a car accident on Tuesday while driving along the Anamico Trail, Upper Burbus River, Region 10. Cosway, a resident of Kwakwani, Burbus River, was driving a motor car, registration number PAB 1457, at a high speed when he lost control while negotiating a turn. According to reports, the vehicle overturned several times before coming to a stop, pinning Cosway inside. Public-spirited citizens who arrived at the scene managed to pull him from the wreckage and rushed him to the Kwakwani District Hospital, where he was pronounced dead. At the time of the accident, Cosway was reportedly transporting friends up a hill. According to his aunt, Elsa La Rose, Cosway instructed his friends to walk up the hill while he drove ahead. When his friends noticed his absence after reaching some distance, they began walking back, only to find his vehicle in a clump of bushes. After a brief search, they found him trapped underneath the car. A statement from the Georgetown Amateur Basketball Association described Cosway as a central figure in Guyana's basketball scene. His love for basketball was immense. It was his passion and life's work. He gave his heart and soul to the sport. Guyana has lost not just a great player and coach, but a man whose dedication and energy inspired many. His contributions to basketball in our country are immeasurable, and his legacy will forever be felt on and off the court, the association said. Cosway's passing has sparked an outpouring of tributes, with friends, family, and the basketball community remembering him as a coach who made a lasting impact on the lives of many young athletes. At the time of his death, he was coaching the Untouchables, a team he founded and nurtured. The entire nation mourns the loss of a passionate leader who dedicated his life to the sport and to the development of youth in the region. Armed bandits strike again. Chinese restaurant robbed on Essequibo coast. Another Chinese restaurant has fallen victim to armed robbery, marking the latest in a series of such incidents in the region. The robbery occurred around 2000 hours last night at Lot 19 Zorg Public Road, Essequibo coast. The victim, Chinese national Yang Jiang, was at his restaurant located on the lower flat of his building when two masked and armed bandits stormed the establishment. The assailants climbed through an opening in the counter and, during the chaos, discharged a round from their firearm, sending customers fleeing for cover. The bandits quickly seized the day's earnings from a drawer and proceeded to enter the living quarters where Jiang, his wife, and two children reside. There, they made off with the family's savings before discharging another shot as they escaped. Police were promptly alerted and arrived at the scene shortly after the robbery. Investigations are ongoing as authorities work to identify the culprits and bring them to justice. This incident has raised concerns among residents and business owners on the Essequibo coast, as the spate of armed robberies continues to threaten the safety of the community. Updated cybercrime legislation will not restrict free speech or social media influencers, Vice President Barrett Jagdeo. Vice President Barrett Jagdeo today emphasized that the government's forthcoming updates to cybercrime legislation will not infringe on free speech or impose restrictions on social media influencers and individuals with large online followings. Speaking at a press conference, Mr. Jagdeo reassured the public that the updated legislation is aligned with the government's commitment to uphold the right to free expression. We believe in free media. We believe in people freely expressing their views on the Internet. We are not for censorship on the Internet, the Vice President stated. We will promote people's rights to freely express themselves. Mr. Jagdeo highlighted that the planned updates are based on United Nations model for addressing crimes that occur in cyberspace. The legislation will target illegal activities online, such as extortion, exploitation, and blackmail, particularly in cases involving vulnerable groups such as women and children. People who exploit women by taking photos and blackmailing them, people who exploit children, these are important issues for us. We are not going to allow that to happen in our country. But this is not to regulate what people say. We believe in freedom of speech and freedom of expression, Jagdeo reiterated. The Vice President clarified that the government respects individuals' rights to criticize or express opinions about the administration and will not censor or target those exercising lawful free speech. However, Jagdeo also underscored that freedom of expression does not extend to illegal activities. It is for those who break the law that we will go after, he said, making it clear that the updated legislation will aim to address criminal activities, not regulate personal opinions shared online. The Attorney General has echoed this stance, affirming that the legislation will address those who use social media to slander others with false information, ensuring a balance between freedom of speech and accountability. Man wanted for money laundering arrested. Soku urges victims to come forward. The Guyana Police Force, through its Special Organized Crime Unit, Soku, has arrested Raheshwar Prasad, also known as Raj Prasad or Dave Prasad, who was wanted in connection with money laundering and other financial crimes. A wanted bulletin had been issued for Prasad regarding these allegations. According to police reports, Prasad's alleged fraudulent activities date back to February 2019. He is accused of defrauding individuals by selling properties and vehicles he did not own. Additionally, Prasad allegedly posed as a police officer, collecting large sums of money from people by claiming he could assist with police-related matters. In light of his arrest, Soku is urging anyone who may have been defrauded by Prasad or his associates to come forward and provide statements. Victims are encouraged to contact Soku via telephone at 592-225-3079. Authorities assure that all information will be treated confidentially as they continue their investigations.